Checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Are you ready to go, guys? Let's go, go, go! Emergency Management Associates is on the air, guys. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Guys, we're going to talk about the Pneumatic Fault. There has been a very substantial increase in the size and also the number of earthquakes on the Pneumatic Fault. I believe it's getting to be to a point where it may become very dangerous around the Pneumatic Fault. We're going to talk about that in just a couple minutes here. First, I want to address what's going on in the Philippines. Okay? Down in the Philippines on Sunday night into Monday, we had an increase in earthquakes there. We had what they term as a 6.9 earthquake here in the Philippines. Okay? Around Cebu, Philippines here. Okay? This is a big deal. This is a huge deal, guys. Why? Because, guys, this was a major earthquake. This was not just a 6.9 earthquake. That in and of itself would have been a big deal, but it was larger than that. Very much larger than that. Okay, that was a 7.4 earthquake Sunday night, Monday morning. Now, with that said, I showed you last night a video from CBS News from the Philippine News Agency showing the damage in the Philippines. I've got this report for you live from the Philippines just a few hours ago. Watch this. This is the Philippines News Agency.
A devastating 6.9 magnitude earthquake rocked Philippines earlier this week, leaving numerous killed and hundreds injured, with the numbers only set to increase as officials continue search and rescue operations across the country. To understand this situation better, we have with us Dr. Winchell Ian Sevilla, who's the Chief Science Researcher at the Philippine Institute of Seismology, who's going to explain to us why this earthquake was so devastating as compared to the other previous earthquakes that have also hit Philippines. Do you think that this earthquake was in a sense expected, or did this catch you by surprise?
Actually, the Philippines is a seismically active region, so we are recording at least 30, on average 30 earthquakes per day. The area where the earthquake occurred, at least based on our current information right now, it was generated by an offshore fault. This offshore fault is not yet included in our active fault map, primarily because, well, I think number one is the fault most likely is located undersea. And if we are going to base or if we are going to consult our earthquake catalog, at least in the last 400 years, the area where the earthquake occurred did not experience earthquakes of similar magnitude. We do have seismic activity in the area, but all of these earthquakes are small, usually less than magnitude 4 or around, let's say, close to magnitude 5. And most of these earthquakes are small enough that they are not being felt by our countrymen living on that part of the Philippines. So basically, it's the northern part of Cebu. So at least in the last 400 years, there was no strong earthquakes that occurred on that area.
Now, Philippines, given the region that it's in the Ring of Fire, faces a lot of earthquakes throughout the year. But why did this particular earthquake cause such devastating damage across the country?
I think at least for the area, there are two factors. For now, number one is the magnitude. A magnitude 6.9 is a strong earthquake that can cause significant damage. Number two is the depth. The depth is shallow. Based on our location program, we plotted it at the depth that we obtained where the rupture started was 5 kilometers. So it's pretty shallow. So the combination of the shallow depth of the earthquakes and its magnitude, plus the building practices. Let's say there are some old structures in there, contributed to the devastations or the damages being documented now in the epicentral area. Now, all the information that we are releasing right now are based on the data that we gathered since the occurrence of the earthquake up until now. Now, to be able to understand more the structure or the fault that generated this earthquake, today we sent our colleagues, which we call the quick response team, to the epicentral area. Their primary purpose, one, is to fully understand again what kind of structure or what fault that caused these earthquakes. Number two, they're going to install seismic stations or seismometers so that we can locate with higher accuracy the aftershock.
Okay, they're trying to install more and more seismographs to increase the accuracy of their earthquakes that they're having. Notice on this slide here, they have already recorded 966 earthquakes, 966 aftershocks. Okay, expect those numbers to increase. 966 aftershocks already, and they're going to expect these aftershocks to increase. The numbers of earthquakes to increase here in the Philippines. Okay, I wanted to make sure everybody understood that. This is important. That area is still shaking seismologically all over the place. Okay? Number one, it's a highly seismological area based on where it is, but it's also in an area where it's subducting. We've talked about this before. This is one area here, and yes, I'm going to take down my webcam here for a minute, and I'm going to back this out so you can truly see what is exactly going on here. Okay? But this area is in a huge area. Very much a huge area, guys. Okay? This area is producing a lot of aftershocks. And because of what's going on here, it's only going to get worse. This is only going to get much worse as it goes through here. Okay? This is a huge subduction zone. There are 7 different subduction zones, or not subduction zones. There are 7 different tectonic plates in place here. There are 7 different tectonic plates in place where these earthquakes are happening. Okay? Right here is Cebu, Philippines. Okay? Huge area. I shouldn't say there. It's right here. That's Cebu, Philippines. Okay? Right smack dab in the middle of a huge subduction zone. 7 different tectonic plates stretching from Samoa and Tonga and down here to New Zealand, all the way over, including Australia, over here in the Southeast Asia, and all the way up here to Japan. 7 different tectonic plates coming into place here. One of the plates subducting under the other here. One plate subducting under the other here. That's why they have so many earthquakes. And now because of this 7.4 earthquake the other day, now they've had 966 aftershocks. 966 aftershocks. And yet, guess what? USGS is still not showing all the earthquakes here. Not showing any. Not showing one earthquake. That's what's sad here. They're not showing even one earthquake. Now, this is not the only place that's having earthquakes, but also notice this. They're not showing any of the earthquakes in Indonesia either. The nation of Indonesia is a huge island nation. Again, they're right smack dab in the middle of a subduction zone. That's why they get so many earthquakes here. Huge deal. Huge deal. Down here in New Zealand, I want to show you this because this is very important. Okay? Down here in New Zealand, this is a 4.1 moderate earthquake. This is a 4.1 moderate earthquake. Look where it's at. Look where this earthquake is at. This is just northwest of Taupo Lake, northwest of a supervolcano. Taupo volcano is a supervolcano here in New Zealand. This is a 4.1 moderate earthquake here. This is also 93 miles deep. 93 miles deep here. And again, they're not showing all the earthquakes here either. There are literally dozens of earthquakes here in New Zealand. They're not showing us at all. None at all. They show us one moderate earthquake and they think that's okay. It's not. There are dozens of earthquakes that are hitting here in New Zealand. Now, what makes matters worse? Over here off the eastern shore of New Zealand, they are expecting an 8.1 earthquake to hit here. An 8.1 earthquake to hit here off the northeast island of New Zealand. This is also subduction zone. This is also part of the subduction zone. That's why they're going to have an 8.0 earthquake here. And again, the agency's not showing any earthquakes. That's what makes it worse. Okay? The New Zealand people watch this program. That's why I talk about it. Some of you might not like what I talk about, but I talk about it for a reason. I talk about it for a reason. These people in New Zealand are very much aware of what's going on, and they need to know exactly what's going on from day to day. New Zealand here is going for a major earthquake and possibly even a volcanic eruption over at Topa Lake, Topa Volcano. Topa Volcano. Somebody said zoom out here. See where this earthquake is? Just northwest of Topa Lake here. Just northwest of Topa Lake. Topa Volcano's right here. Topa Volcano's right here. Okay? Yet they're only showing one earthquake here. Again, the eastern shore of the North Island of New Zealand is due to have an 8.0 earthquake here. Big deal. Great big deal. Going north. Going north up here. This is the northeast Fiji region. This is a 4.4 earthquake. 4.4 earthquake. This is a deep quake. This is very much a deep quake here, guys. Let me do this. I want to show you something. This is 621 kilometers deep. That's a deep quake. 4.4 moderate quake. It's a deep quake. This means this area, this region, is going to birth a 5.8 earthquake. This earthquake is going to propagate a 5.8 stronger, shallow earthquake. 5.8 stronger, shallow earthquake within the next 3 days to 10 days. Again, within 72 hours to 10 days, we're going to see a 5.8 earthquake here. Going south. This is a 4.3. This is also a deep earthquake. 531 kilometers deep. Big deal. This earthquake, being a 4.3 earthquake, is going to propagate a 5.5 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. Heidi Petrick just gave 5 EMA associates gift memberships here. Those of you that received gift memberships are Hitchhiker Effect, Gil Novo, Be Real Beast, Jane24PetConnect.com, Save a Life. Those of you that received a gift membership here to our channel, please thank Heidi Petrick for that. Heidi, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. God bless you for that, Heidi. You're awesome. But again, because of the earthquakes that are here in the Philippines, you need to understand these are deep earthquakes. They're very much going to be effective within the next 3 to 10 days. They're going to birth stronger, shallow earthquakes in this region. The region could expand over to Tonga, Samoa, more earthquakes in Fiji. Down here in the Legacy Islands where we have another earthquake today, this is a 4.7 shallow quake, 12 kilometers deep. Heidi Petrick just also gifted us a $20 super chat here. Heidi, I'm giving you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I'm also giving you a thumbs up. Thank you so much, Heidi. God bless you for that. We appreciate you so much. But guys, these earthquakes are going to very much have a profound influence on what's going on here in this region. Okay? It's going to happen. Now, with that said, I want to go to the depth to magnitude conversion chart here. Let's look at this. Okay? The first earthquake in Fiji. That first earthquake in Fiji, guys. A big deal. Huge deal. Okay? This earthquake here. 621 kilometers deep. The depth of magnitude conversion chart has this. Okay? Look at 621 here. $620 go down, just add one more number to 621. So we're going to add a 1.24 to that magnitude. This was a 4.4. So we're going to add a 1.2 to that, which means it's going to birth a 5.6 earthquake. A 5.6 earthquake. Now the other earthquake here. Let's show that. Hold on a second, guys. Let's show this earthquake here. That's what I'm talking about. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. This is 531 kilometers deep. Deep earthquake. Very much a deep earthquake. 531 kilometers deep means we have to add a 1.06 to that quake, which means this is going to be a 5.4 earthquake. A 5.4 earthquake. So we're going to have one earthquake, a 5.6, and another a 5.4 earthquake in this region. In Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, down over here in the Legacy Islands as well. Let's bring that up here. Over here in Legacy Islands. This is also a 4.7 earthquake. This is only 13 kilometers deep. Those 5.4, 5.6 earthquakes could be over here in the Legacy Islands. It could go north of there, into Vanuatu. Go up into Vanuatu or the Solomon Islands. Here in Vanuatu, we have a 5.0 large earthquake here. This is 150 kilometers deep. This is not a very deep earthquake. This is still a relatively shallow quake. So that 5.4 or 5.6 earthquake could also affect what's going on here in Vanuatu. Or even further west here into the Solomon Islands or Papua New Guinea. Could happen. Can happen. We shall see what we see within the next 72 hours to 10 days. I personally believe it will be 72 hours because most of the time it has only been 72 hours before we see the larger quake happen. But again, USGS is not showing anything. Now, I told you yesterday that the United States Geological Survey is basically down for the count. They are literally not going to show almost anything at all for quite some time because the United States of America is shut down. The United States of America has been shut down by the Democrat Communist Party. We talked about this yesterday. I'm talking about it again today. It's an emergency. That's what we're talking about. This is literally an emergency situation. The American people are the only people that are going to suffer because of the shutdown. They're going to suffer economically and also physically. For anybody to think nothing's going to happen here in the United States because of the shutdown, you're not thinking. You're not thinking. People here in the United States survive on the government. There are millions of government employees that are out of work because of this. They're not getting paid. They're not getting paid. What's going to happen then? When millions of people are out of work, not getting paid, they can't pay their bills. This is the first part of the month. Bills become due. Mortgages become due. Leases on apartments and homes become due. And yet people are not going to be able to pay it. They're not going to be able to buy groceries either, unless they've saved some money. People on Medicare and Social Security are not going to have to worry. But our military members are not also getting paid. Our Veterans Administration is getting paid, but our other military members are not. Because the Democrats shut the country down. The Democrat Party was basically hanging their hat on the idea that they wanted the illegal alien population here in the United States to have health care. They wanted the illegal population here in America to have health care. President Trump said absolutely not. We are not going to pay people to be here in the United States, number one. Number two, we're not going to give them health care either. They don't belong to this country. They haven't put any effort into this country. They haven't worked here. They're not working here. Most of them are not even getting anything else but handouts from the government. President Trump has shut it down. But our Democrat Party said, oh, we need these people to get paid. We need them to have health care. We call bullcrap. Why? Because it's you and I, the taxpayers of this country, that are paying for it. Paying for it out of our own wallets. Money that the United States government doesn't have. Trillions of dollars. The United States is $1 trillion in debt. Going by about $1 trillion a day because of the Democrat Party. That's going to stop. And it's going to stop right now. Unreal. Unreal. Now, I don't want to seem harsh, but I am also very tired of paying for other people's bills. Other people's bills. I think all the rest of us are very tired of it as well. Heidi, you're going to get your Social Security check. President Trump has already said Social Security and Medicare will not be touched. Social Security and Medicare will not be touched. Social Security recipients will receive their Medicare and their Social Security payments. Okay. Hurricane Heather says we won't lose our SSI or SSDI or food stamps. No, you won't. No, you won't. Now, Linda Covington has said something here in the chat that I want to push on or put out to you, but I want to put a caveat on that. Linda Covington has put out that Social Security and Medicare will not be affected and checks in the mail. Yes, Social Security and Medicare are not going to be affected, but if you expect to have Social Security in the mail, it's not going to happen. The government is no longer going to mail out Social Security checks. You have to go on their website or contact socialsecurity.gov and or call them on the phone and make sure you give them your bank information where they will send your Social Security check to your bank. You're not going to be able to get it in the mail from now on. For those of you on Social Security, you need to contact your bank. You also need to contact your Social Security office and give them your banking information. That way you will continue to see your Social Security, but it will be going directly into your bank. Okay? That's what's going on. Linda Covington says it's Democratic blackmail. You're absolutely right. It is. It very much is. Only because the Democrats wanted to make sure that the illegals got our tax money. They wanted to spend an additional $1 trillion to send out to healthcare agencies to pay for illegal alien healthcare. Not going to happen. Chuck Schumer, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Hakeem Jeffries, who is a second in command in the Senate from the Democrat Party. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And all of the other Democrat senators. The House of Representatives sent out the memo, sent out the bill from the House of Representatives for the Senate to be able to pass it on to the president. It was already ready. It was already ready for the president's signature. The Democrats said we're not going to be part of it. So they shut it down. Shut the government down as well. So if you have a representative from the Democrat Party, you need to call their offices and say, screw you. We're not going to vote for you in November. We need to be voting in a bunch of representatives that will do our work, not do what they want to do. We need to vote representatives into power where we're at, where you and I live, that make sure they do our work, not what they want to do. The Democrats need to stop and think what they're doing. They're only hurting us. They're only hurting us. Okay? Now, I don't like to play politics. I never have. I worked for a senator, I worked for a U.S. congressman years ago. So yes, I understand where politics are. I stood up for each one of us. As a campaign manager for that congressman, I actively was asked by the congressman to represent him at town hall meetings. I stood up for him. I told the people what were happening in Congress and what our congressman was doing to help them. But when the government is not doing what we want to do, we need to stop it. And that's what President Trump is doing. Linda Covington is saying defund PBS, public broadcasting system. You're absolutely right. Why do we want to defund PBS? Yeah, they put out a lot of child programming. They also are funded by the Democrat Party. Public broadcasting system PBS television is funded by the Democrat Party. So they actively talk about Democrat politics. Not conservative politics, Democrat politics. They're run by the party. Nasevi says maybe the Democrats should have their pat withheld, their money. I think so too, but guess what? The dadgum representatives to Congress and the Senate are still going to receive their money. They're still receiving their money. You and I need to stop that from happening. We need to tell our senators and representatives in the House of Representatives they don't get paid unless they keep this government running. If they make sure that the United States citizens are not getting paid and not getting the services that we need, then they don't get their money either. So call the White House switchboard. Call the White House switchboard and talk, and you want to talk to your senators and your congressmen from your area and tell them you're darn tired of what they're doing. They need to be on the business of the people, not themselves. They need to do the business of the people and not themselves. Yet that's exactly what they're doing. That's what they're doing. It's got to stop. Now, I'm going to give you the number of the White House switchboard. If one of our mods here can put this number up on the chat, I'd appreciate it. Call the White House switchboard number. The telephone number of the White House switchboard in Washington, D.C. is 202-456-1111. Again, 202-456-1111. When the White House switchboard answers, they're going to ask you for who you want to talk to. Specifically tell them the name of the White House, not the White House, specifically tell them the name of the senator or congressman you want to speak to. You may have to call twice because you have a congressman and a senator that's responsible to you. They are responsible to you. My senator and congressman are responsible to me. So again, you're going to have to call that number twice. Once to talk to your senator and once to talk to your congressman. Then tell them to stop the falderall and put the nation back in business. Put this country back into business. To stop this whole shutdown, especially if it's Democrat representative. If it's Democrat senator, kick their butt. I don't want anybody to be threatening them. Don't do that. But I want you to tell them in no uncertain terms that they need to put this country back together. To stop messing around. They need to put this country back on course. The Republican conservatives cannot do this on their own. It's a Democrat Party. It's a Democrat Party that's doing it. So if you have Democrat or congressmen or Democrat senators, tell them in no uncertain terms they're not going to get your vote, that you will vote them out of office. if they don't get this country up and running again. Again, the number is 202-456-1111. Okay? That switchboard is operated by volunteers. Don't get the volunteer mad at you. Don't get the switchboard operator mad at you. But you need to talk to your representatives. Now, if your senator or congressman is not there, talk to the next in charge. Talk to their supervisor. Talk to the man in charge, the senatorial aide or the Senate or the House aide. Tell them that you're tired of our country being blacked out, not being operated correctly. We need to fund government business. We don't need politics played into this. We need to get our government back and running. And yes, this is an emergency. There are many lives that are affected by this. Linda Cummings says, stand firm behind President Trump. I totally agree. I totally agree. You might also give them a hard copy letter. Send it snail mail. If you send it snail mail or even want to send it special delivery, do it. But in no uncertain terms, tell them that they must get this country back running again and that you're not going to allow this to happen again. Because if it does, the Democrat Party is going to be voted out of office. Tell them that. Don't threaten them. Tell them what's going to happen. I don't want anybody threatening anybody, but you need to be honest and firm with them, telling them at the ballot box they'll be out of work. They will be the next in the breadline. Because aides are not also getting paid. Other government employees are not getting paid either. They're not essential personnel. The only essential personnel are law enforcement, federal law enforcement. Back during the Clinton administration, they tried to furlough me twice. But because I was federal law enforcement, they couldn't do it. We weren't getting paid, but we had to come into work. My police captain, out of his own pocket, with his credit card, he bought my gas and the gas of other people on our shift so we could come to work. But we did not get paid for like I want to say 2 weeks. Under the Clinton administration, our government was shut down. Now it's shut down again by the Democrat Party. We can't allow that to happen again. Never again. Now, this earthquake I'm showing you between Luzon, Philippines, and Taiwan happened earlier this morning. This is a 4.7 moderate earthquake out in the South China Sea here. 4.7 moderate earthquake. This is also 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles deep. Okay. Out here, southeast of Japan. These are in the Bonin Islands. This earthquake is in the Bonin Islands. This is also 4.2 earthquake, but this is moderately deep. This is 421 kilometers deep. Now, I don't believe this earthquake is going to propagate a larger shower quake, but this is moderately deep. 4.2 moderate earthquake here. Now, I'm going to go over here to the west here. Okay, notice this. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Myanmar, Burma area, or Thailand. They're not showing any earthquakes here in India. They're not showing any earthquakes here in the Himalaya Mountains. None. None. Over here in Afghanistan, right here. There are 30 earthquakes here around Afghanistan, Jalalabad. That's because this area is still moving. This area is still moving because that huge earthquake here, I can't say huge, it was a very strong 6.1 earthquake over a month ago. And this area is still suffering aftershocks since that quake happened. It was a very strong 6.1 earthquake, and they're still having aftershocks. The USGS is showing one earthquake over here in southwestern China. This is a 4.2 earthquake in southwestern China, 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles deep. Over here in Iran, this is another large 4 or 5.1 earthquake here. Large 5.1 earthquake here. This is also 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles deep. Now I want to come over here, okay? Northwestern Turkey here. USGS is showing only one earthquake here. Guess what? There are 51 earthquakes here in northwestern Turkey. There are, actually not 51, I'm sorry. There are 200 earthquakes here. 200 earthquakes. Most of those earthquakes are either 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes here. 200 earthquakes here, and USGS shows us one. The largest 5.0 here. 200 aftershocks. 200 aftershocks. There are other earthquakes here in northern Turkey. Earthquakes in central Turkey. Earthquakes in southern Turkey. Earthquakes over here in eastern Turkey in the Syria border area. Earthquakes here are a result of a major earthquake, a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that hit here on February 3rd, 2023. We're still seeing dozens and dozens of aftershocks here, even today. Over 2.5 months later, 2.5 years later. 2.5 years later, the area is still shaking. This area in northwestern Turkey is going to continue shaking for a long time. Over here into the Aegean Sea here. Over here in the Aegean Sea. We're still getting rocked by earthquakes here. That's because there's magma down here. There's magma down here beneath the surface of the ocean here. Magma trying to find its way to either erupt at a volcano or begin another volcanic cycle here. Magma's hammering away at the bedrock here, trying to find a way to erupt. That's why we're having earthquakes here. The earthquakes here in the center of the Aegean Sea here are 1.2, 1.7, 1.6, and 1.8 earthquakes. Tremors. Tremors here. There are 18 earthquakes here in Greece. USGS not showing any. None. There are 50 earthquakes here in Slovenia. 50 earthquakes here in Slovenia. USGS shows none. There are earthquakes here in Austria. Earthquakes here in Germany. Earthquakes here in the Alps of Italy. There are earthquakes over here in central Italy here. 28 earthquakes here in central Italy. We also have earthquakes down here in south central Italy here. That's because we have a volcano right here. We have a volcano here that's trying to erupt here. These earthquakes here are tremors, minor earthquakes, and small earthquakes, 3.0, 3.4. Now this volcano, Vesuvius volcano, may not erupt for 6 months. It might erupt tomorrow. Might not erupt for a year. But this volcano is already steaming here. This volcano is already steaming. Just like Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens and Mount Hood are steaming. It's still moving. But the United States agency, which is the premier seismic agency in the world, is not showing diddly squat. There are earthquakes here in France, all over France. Over here in France here, and over here in the English Channel here. Over here in the English Channel between England and the Netherlands and France here. Earthquakes here in the Netherlands and France, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes. USGS not saying word one. Over here, okay, right between England, Ireland, and Wales, we have a 1.75 tremor here. We don't often see earthquakes here, but now we have a 1.75 tremor here in the, I don't remember I think it's Irish Sea here. I think this is the Irish Sea here. Okay, that's what's happening here. Over here in Norway, southwest of Norway, we had a 1.7 earthquake just north of Bergen. Just north of Bergen, Norway. Okay. Over here, okay, this is the Eastern Mountains, Norway here. We had a 1.5 tremor here. Over here in Sweden, right here near Lake Vänersborg, Västermanland. We had a 1.7 tremor here. I want to go up to Iceland now. Let's take a look at Iceland here. Okay. We had 10 earthquakes here today. 10 earthquakes. Some of them were 1.5, 1.7 tremors. Others were 2.2, 2.0, 2.5, and 2.7 earthquakes here. 10 earthquakes here, guys. Okay. There was also one earthquake down here to the southeast or southeast here, yeah, right here. This was a 1.7 tremor as well. This great big huge iceberg, this glacier here, has a volcano underneath it. The Bordabunga volcano here. The Bordabunga volcano, and the earthquake was right here on the southwest side of the volcano here. Iceland's still rocking. Iceland's still rocking. Okay. I want to go briefly over here to South America. They were not even showing any earthquakes here in South America a little bit earlier. This earthquake over here in off the coast of central Chile, this is a large 5.4 earthquake. This is a large 5.4 earthquake right near the shoreline here. 62 kilometers west of Ovalle, Chile. 5.4 large earthquake. Then we go over here to Argentina. Argentina. This is a very large 5.7 earthquake. 5.7 earthquake. Now, why is this important? Let me tell you guys, this was a deep earthquake. We don't often see deep earthquakes here in Argentina, Chile, or even Bolivia or Peru. But this is a deep earthquake. This is 521 kilometers deep. 521 kilometers deep. This is a destructive earthquake. That is a destructive earthquake. Let's go over to the depth to magnitude convergence chart here. 571 kilometers deep, guys. Over here in the second to the left here, second to the left column at the bottom, we have to add a 1.14 number to that earthquake. That means this earthquake, this very same earthquake, could be a 7.1 earthquake. We add a 1.14 to this number here. That means this earthquake, this 5.7 earthquake here, could be a 7.1 major earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. This earthquake could be a 7.1 major earthquake here in the next 3 to 10 days. It could happen here in the Andes Mountains. It could happen anywhere here in Argentina. It could happen over here in Chile. But within the next 3 to 10 days, we're going to see a major earthquake in this area, in this region. That's not going to be good at all. That will not be good at all. Hi, Lana. Good to see you. Now, there are not just 2 earthquakes here in South America. I promise you there are a lot more than that. Let me just briefly go over to my device here. I want to show you the earthquakes here in South America. There are a lot of earthquakes here in South America. USGS never shows exactly what's going on. They don't want us to know. Unfortunately, they don't want us to know at all. Let me show our webcam here, and I'll show you the number of earthquakes that are actually here in South America. Okay? There are 70 plus earthquakes here in South America. 70 plus earthquakes in South America. Down here to the central part of Chile, Argentina, 20 plus earthquakes there. Northern Chile, Argentina, Bolivia area, another 20 plus earthquakes there. Notice here in Peru, we have 2 earthquakes in Peru. Okay? Down in southern Peru, Maca, Arequipa, Peru, we have a 3.8 small earthquake there. Over in central Peru, we have another 3.7 near Pasco, Peru. 3.7 earthquake in Pasco, Peru. That's a small earthquake. Ecuador. Our dear friend, Sleeping Volcano, who is not feeling good at all, posted this earthquake this morning after it happened. This earthquake in Ecuador is a 3.7 small earthquake. 3.7 small earthquake. Let's go over to Colombia. Okay, before we go to Colombia, I want to go over to northern Ecuador, off the coast of northern Ecuador. This is a 4.42 earthquake here. 4.42 earthquake here off the coast of northern Ecuador. We go north to Colombia now. 10 plus earthquakes here. 10 plus earthquakes here. They start off near Santander, Colombia with a 3.0. Santander, Colombia 3.0. North of Santander is a 4.73. 4.73. Over at the north coast here, Atlantico, Colombia, This is a 2.6 minor earthquake. But we come across here over into Venezuela now. This is a 3.2 earthquake in Venezuela. 3.2 earthquake there. Now, I'm going to go from west to east here. This is a 3.1. Just north of that 3.1 is a 3.0. 3.0, 3.9 are small earthquakes. Small earthquakes. Over to the east a little bit. Bacaquero. This is a 2.8 minor earthquake there. Just to the east of there is another 2.9. Just barely east of there, another 2.9. Another 2.9 after that. And a 3.0. And another 2.9. The last one here to the east is another 3.2. So we have several 2.9s and three 3.0, 3.2 earthquakes. Venezuela, guys. Okay. We have 70 plus earthquakes in South America. 70 plus earthquakes in South America. USGS shows us 2. 2. What a joke. What a joke. Now I'm going to go over here. I want to show you what's going on here in the southwestern part of the country. Okay. Yes, we have some earthquakes in Northern California. We have earthquakes in Southern California as well. Okay. But I want to go over here to Alaska first. Then we'll talk about the New Matter Fault. I promise you we will talk about the New Matter Fault next. The southeastern part of Alaska here. Southeastern Alaska, this is Yakutak, Alaska. This is a 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 minor earthquake. Let's go over in south central Alaska here. This is Glacier View, Alaska. This is 1.4 tremor. Over here to the southwest here, okay? This is Hope, Alaska. Hope, Alaska here, okay? You can see where Anchorage is here. This is across the Cook Inlet here. The body of water up here in Alaska is called the Cook Inlet. Across here in Hope, Alaska, this is 1.8 tremor. A lot of these earthquakes are tremors, nothing more. We have a couple of small minor 2.2s as well. Up here. Okay, this earthquake right here. 1.4 tremor here in Glacier View, Alaska. We go up here to Mount McKinley. Just north of Mount McKinley here. Just north of Mount McKinley here. This is a 2.8 earthquake here. 2.8 minor earthquake here. We go north here to this red earthquake here. This is a 1.1 tremor here. 4 Mile, Alaska. 4 Mile, Alaska. One earthquake right next to it is also 2.4 minor earthquake at 4 Mile, Alaska here. Okay. There are no earthquakes up here in the Arctic Circle at all today. There are no earthquakes up here in the Arctic Circle. This area in the grayish brown here, this is the Arctic Circle here. There are no earthquakes up here in the northern part of Alaska today. We have some minor stuff, tremors mostly here in Washington, Oregon. But they're still not telling us the truth. There are literally dozens of earthquakes in Washington and dozens more in Oregon. They're not being honest with us at all. Nothing at all. Nevada. This is Tonopah, Nevada. This is a minor 2.0 earthquake here. A minor 2.0 earthquake here. Right here, we have a swarm of earthquakes here. This is Goldfield, Nevada. This is a volcanic range. This is a volcanic range, guys. That's a 1.0 tremor. This is a 1.0 tremor. This is a 1.0 tremor. This is a 1.3 tremor. This is a 1.0 tremor. And right here, this is a 2.2 earthquake. 2.2 minor earthquake. Notice where we're at. Look at all these craters and vents. This is a volcanic field. These earthquakes are caused by magma down inside this volcanic field. These earthquakes are caused by magma down here inside this volcanic field. Okay? Goldfield, Nevada. That's why we're having earthquakes here. I talked with a great number of people here from our EMA family. I want to make sure everybody is aware of what's happening. I've talked to a number of you here. I will continue to do that because I feel that is my responsibility to talk with you and let you know what's going on. Joe Chinapaw's here. He says, hello, everyone from Arkansas. Just tuned in. Have I missed anything on the new matter yet? No, Joe, we're going there right now. As I have talked about this, okay, I've done a great deal of research today. I wanted to make sure we had the latest information. That's why we only came on the air after 5 o'clock. I tried to be on the air at sometime after 4 o'clock today. It was just after 5 p.m. Guess what? We have earthquakes over here on the New Madrid Fault. Literally all over the place here. I'm very serious about this. Earthquakes all over here. I'm concerned. I'm concerned, one, about the number of earthquakes, but I'm also talking about earthquakes being larger too. Earthquakes being larger here. Okay? Over here. Okay? South Carolina today. South Carolina over here on the northwest side of South Carolina. Notice where this earthquake is. This earthquake here in South Carolina is over on the southern part of the Blue Ridge Mountains. This is a 1.8 tremor over here in Coronacah, South Carolina. A 1.8 tremor here. This earthquake has nothing to do with the New Madrid Fault. However, I believe it has everything to do with the New Madrid, or not the New Madrid, but the Continental Divide. This earthquake is down here on the southern part of the Continental Divide. Notice where it's at. This is in the foothills of the Continental Divide. Similar to where I live here in North Carolina. Okay. See where it says Asheville here? I live east of Asheville in Morganton, North Carolina. Just east of Asheville, North Carolina. There you see Morganton where I live. I am also sitting in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Eastern Continental Divide. 3 years ago, we had a 4.5 earthquake here in Morganton. This is the Craton Edge, or the edge of the plate, the edge of the North American plate. Where I live here in Morganton, we're actually on the Atlantic plate. We're on the Atlantic plate. You see Asheville here. Lamazolite lives in Asheville. I don't think Lamazolite is here in our chat or on our channel today, but she lives in Asheville. Asheville's on the Continental Divide. Asheville is on the eastern side of the North American plate. I'm on the Atlantic side here. The Atlantic plate is pushing on the North American plate. The Atlantic plate is pushing on the North American plate, and it's causing earthquakes here. It's also pushing North America, both the United States, Canada, and northern Mexico in a southwesterly direction. And yes, we have earthquakes here. USGS is being very negligent. They're not showing all the earthquakes here. We have 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes up and down the entire fault zone, up and down the entire North American plate on the eastern side. Okay. When I have time, I'll put on a show just about what's going on the East Coast. Tonight, I want to talk specifically about what is going on with the Madrid fault. This fault zone running from down here in the south along the Louisiana-Arkansas border down here, the Mississippi border, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, up into Illinois and Indiana. Now, I've already done the research. The USGS has shut down the seismographs in Indiana. The USGS has shut down the seismographs in Indiana. We have nothing reported at all. Usually we have the University of Indiana in Evansville with a seismograph there reporting information. They shut it down. But I do have some seismographs that are working over in Illinois. I'm going to show you those today. But as in the title of my program today, we have had an increase in the number of earthquakes on the Madrid fault, and also the size of the earthquakes has increased. I want to make that plain today. We've talked about this for a very long time. When I first started reporting on earthquakes here on the Madrid fault 6.5 years ago, people asked me if there was anything going on the Madrid fault. I said no. Because at the time, the only thing was happening were tremors. 1.0, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.7 tremors. That was all. But over the past 3 years, we've gone from tremors to minor earthquakes 2.0, 2.9, Small earthquakes, 3.0, 3.9. And I believe we've gone upwards of 4.0, 4.5 now. 4.0, 4.5 moderate earthquakes here on the Nomad Fault. Now let's go and take a look at the seismograms. I want you to know exactly what's going on. We have a lot of people here in this chat, a lot of people that belong to this channel. I want to make sure you guys know what is happening. Okay? I want you to know what is going on here, because it is going to affect everyone living in this area along the Nomad Fault. It's not like back in the early 1800s when this earthquake first happened. They said it was only a 7.1 earthquake. They said back then it was a 7.1 earthquake, and it was bad even then. People living here on the Nomad Fault back then, they're few and far between. There were settlers, homesteaders here. Homesteaders living in farms, widespread acreage. Yes, when that earthquake happened, it killed a lot of people. The shaking alone knocked down cabins all over the area, all over the region. What also happened? What also happened? Over in the area between Arkansas and Tennessee. Arkansas, Tennessee. The Mississippi River stopped flowing. It actually started flowing northbound again. Prior to that, it was flowing south like it does today. When it stopped flowing, it backed up. It backed up. There's now a lake here. There's now a lake. It's called Reelfoot Lake. It's called Reelfoot Lake. The Mississippi River stopped flowing for 7 minutes. When the Mississippi River stopped flowing and started filling in here on the Reelfoot Lake, there were people that had their homesteads here, cabins, animals. They drowned here in the floodwaters. When the earthquake happened, it opened up fissures in the ground. Large fissures in the ground. Fissures that went across roadways. Back then it was horse and buggy paths. Horse and buggies and cows could no longer go down the road because they had holes in the ground. What do you think is going to happen now? Roads running north, south, east, and west here were cow paths. Cow paths. 2-lane blacktop roads are here. The main highway between Memphis and Little Rock, Arkansas is a 3-lane highway going in each direction. Three roadways running west and 3 roadways running east. There's a bridge there. Guess what? Last year, there was someone that was canoeing down the river. They noticed cracks in the bridge. They noticed cracks in the pylons of the bridge holding the bridge up. They had to shut down several lanes of traffic because they were scared that those lanes of traffic would fall into the river. They had to repair the bridge. Now, if that wasn't enough, you need to know this. All that we've had here on the New Mountain Fault have been tremors and minor earthquakes and some 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here by now. The ground is still shifting. The ground has been shifting for years, over 200 years now. Over 200 years. The earthquake happened in 1811, 1812. Back in 2011. My crew was down here in Little Rock, Arkansas at the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management. The building's called ADEM, Adam. We had an earthquake drill. The day the earthquake drill started on a Monday morning, 7 a.m. in the morning, we had 3.0 earthquakes. We had 3.0 earthquakes here. 3.0 small earthquakes don't cause any damage. They don't cause any damage at all. But there were 3.0 earthquakes nonetheless. We stopped our drill as soon as we started it. We wanted to make sure there were no other earthquakes around. Just because we have 3.0 earthquakes doesn't mean we're not going to have large earthquakes. We stopped the drill and went what we call real world. Real world. We wanted to find out exactly where the earthquakes were. The earthquakes were along the Mississippi River, the New Mountain Fault here. We had earthquakes here in Arkansas along the New Mountain Fault. We had earthquakes up north near Jonesboro, up here near Jonesboro, and over here in southeastern Oklahoma. Southeastern Oklahoma, guys. I kid you not. 3.1, 3.3, and 3.7 on the anniversary of the New Madrid earthquake. The 200th anniversary of the New Madrid earthquake. Within a few hours, we restarted the drill, and we ran the drill for an entire week, 7 days. We had some other minor tremors, but no real earthquakes. Exactly 3 years ago, we were only having tremors here on the New Madrid Fault. And I was telling people about it. Oh, don't worry, guys. All we're having here is tremors. Now, during the past year, those tremors have begun to be minor 2.0 to 2.9 earthquakes, 3.0, 3.5. And now I believe we may have had 4.0s even today. I'm telling you that straight up. We have had a steady increase in the number of earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault during this past week. Prior to this past week, we had no real confirmation, no real idea that the earthquakes have gotten larger. They were about the same. But this week, the earthquakes have actually gotten larger. Let me take down the USGS map and let me show you what I'm talking about here. I believe you need to know exactly what's going on here. And I'm going to tell you exactly what is going on here. Let me show you Bay Village, Arkansas. This earthquake here, this town is about 150 miles east. I'm sorry, not east. This is about 150 miles west of the Mississippi, the New Madrid Fault. Bay Village, Arkansas. Let me show you what's going on here. I'm sorry, that's this afternoon. Bay Village, Arkansas this morning. Let me reduce the size of this seismic so you can see what I'm talking about. I didn't realize that this was going to be so big here. Okay. This morning you can see it just tremors. Just tremors this morning. But this afternoon it changed. It changed. This afternoon we had tremors, but we had one 2.0 earthquake. One 2.0 earthquake here. Okay. That earthquake was after one. It was after 1:09 p.m. 1:09 p.m. And then over here to the right, look at this on this black line. This is just before 1:15. 1:15. Okay, I'm sorry on this red line here. This is actually 1:24 p.m. on this red line here. Then 2.5 minutes later, we had another 2.0 earthquake. Okay, we had a 2.3 here after 1:14, and down here at 1:24. That looks to me about 2.0, 2.3. And 3 minutes later, almost 3 minutes later, 2.5 minutes later, another 2.0. I checked. We have not had 2.0 earthquakes here in Bay Village, Arkansas before. This is new. This is west of the New Madrid Fault. But we've seen earthquakes out here. I kid you not. North Central Arkansas. Ozark Folk Center, Arkansas. We've been having a lot of earthquakes here in the past. They're still continuing. Look at this. Ozark Folk Center this morning. Early this morning from midnight until approximately 8 o'clock this morning. All we had here were tremors here in Ozark Folk Center, Arkansas. Then after 8:03 a.m. this morning, 3.0 earthquakes here. 3.0 earthquakes here in Ozark Folk Center, Arkansas. Then down here on the blue line on the left side would be 8:30. We go over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. A 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. 2 minutes later, we have another 3.0 earthquake. And within about 20 seconds later, we have another 2.7, 2.8. Yes, we've had 3.0 earthquakes here at Ozark Folk Center before. later this morning. The green line over on the left-hand side here is 10:45. We come over here to 10:51 on the green line here. This is a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. We come over 3 minutes later, we have another 3.0 earthquake. 2.5 minutes later, another 3.0 earthquake. 30 seconds after that, we have another 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Ozark Folk Center, Arkansas. Then on the bottom line here on the green line, on the left-hand side, it would be 11:45. Over here, this is 11:52 a.m. this morning. 2.5, 2.6 earthquake, and then just a few seconds later, another 2.5, 2.6 earthquake happened here. You don't see this on the USGS map because they never show it. They would never show these earthquakes. They never do. Earthquakes are happening here in Arkansas. Now, they're continuing. They're continuing here. This is Ozark Folk Center this afternoon. On the first green line on the top left, that would be 12:45 p.m. this afternoon. Over here on the right-hand side, this is 12:56 p.m. We had a 2.9, 3.0, and right after that, we had a 3.0, 3.1 earthquake this afternoon, 12:51 p.m. The next one on the red line to the far right here, that red line would be 1:15 on the left-hand side. We get over here to the right, that's a 2.5 earthquake first. Okay? That is 1:26 p.m. this afternoon. Okay? Possibly 2.3 earthquake. Maybe upwards of a 2.5. Further out to the right, this is 1:44 p.m. this afternoon. The first one is a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake. The next one after that is a 2.7, 2.8. 1:44 this afternoon. We go over to the right. The seismic energy after that last 2.9, 3.0 looked like it was just some tiny tremors. But I don't think it stopped. Because over here on this blue line, which is 1:30 this afternoon, we had another 3.0. Then out to the right, we had a bunch of tremors for about 20 seconds. Then we don't have any more earthquakes until after 2:30 this afternoon here on the blue line. At 2:36 this afternoon, we had a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Over to the right, on that same blue line. In this case, this is 2:43 p.m. this afternoon. Another 3.0 earthquake. And immediately after that is another 2.0. Then the next green line below that, on the left-hand side, would be 2:45. Now we are talking here about 2:52 p.m. this afternoon. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes here. Ozark Folk Center is moving, isn't it? Definitely moving. This is over in north central Arkansas, to the west side of the New Madrid Fault. Interesting. Let's move over to Catfish Pond, Arkansas, on the west side of the New Madrid Fault, right on top of the fault. Catfish Pond. Early this morning, we just had some tiny tremors. That was all. That was all. Then, just after 4 a.m., we had another 1.2, 1.3 tremor. Back to back there. Then 6:30, we had another 1.2, 1.3 tremor. 7 a.m., we have more tremors there. Started at 7 a.m., 7:03, 7:04, 7:05, 7:06. Over here in the center here. That's a 2.0 earthquake. 7:08 a.m. a 2.0 earthquake. Then we have more tremors after 8 a.m. More tremors until 8:04 on the black line. 1.8, 1.9 tremors, almost 2.0. More tremors after that. Then the next major event, I shouldn't say major because it's not a major event at all, but the next good size event was after 9:30 in the center of the seismogram. 9:30 on the left-hand side, but here, now we are at 9:10 or 9:40. This will be 9:40 on this blue line. Now we're talking 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes. Nobody's going to feel them. These are minor earthquakes. Then more tremors after that. Then we come down here to 10:45 on the left-hand side on the green line. We're talking tremors and then a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. More tremors, 1.6, 1.7, 1.4, 1.5. And then at 10:46, we have a 2.4, 2.5. Then we have more tremors for the next 3 minutes. Then all of a sudden we have a series of 3.0 earthquakes here. Okay? At 10:49 a.m. this morning, we had a series of 3.0 earthquakes that lasted a minute and a half. They may have been larger. As you can see, they cut off the top and the bottom of the earthquake sequence, which means these earthquakes are larger than they're saying they are. Just like they're showing here, we have at least 3.0 earthquakes. These may have been 3.5s here. 3.5 earthquakes at Catfish Pond, Arkansas, on the New Madrid Fault. Then we have tremors after that. Coming down here, this blue line on the left-hand side, that is 11:30. We come over here to the far right. Now we're talking about 11:41. We first start off with tremors, Then they develop into 2.2 earthquakes, minor earthquakes. They go back down to tremors. This sequence lasts about a minute and a half. Then the next biggest sequence is after 11:55. At 11:55, we have a 2.4, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8. Minor earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes. Catfish Pond, Arkansas. They continue this afternoon. 12:30 this afternoon over on this left-hand side. You see tremors developing into 2.0 earthquakes. Last about 30 seconds, off and on for 30 seconds. Then they get to be probably 2.5s, 2.67s. Then we come over here to 12:33. 12:33 p.m., we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. After that, we see more tremors here. The new manifold is moving. The new manifold is moving. Now, I want to talk about Hitachi-Coon, Arkansas. Hitachi-Coon, Arkansas. I first showed this 2 weeks ago. Notice up at midnight on the top line here, nothing but tiny tremors. All we have is tiny tremors until we get down here to about 5 a.m. Actually, before that. 4:59 a.m. this morning. Maybe 1.9, 2.0 earthquake. Just after 1:59 going into, not 1:59, I'm sorry. This will be 6:59. 6:59 on this green line, and over here at 7 a.m. on this black line. 7 a.m. this black line, we have a 2.0 earthquake. Here at 7:30. I'm sorry, that was 5 a.m. on the black line on the left-hand side. This is 5:34 a.m. here on the blue line. Okay? This 5:34 on the blue line is a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake, minor earthquake. Then all we have here are microquakes and tremors. Microquakes and tremors until we get over here to approximately 8:30 this morning. 8:30 this morning on this blue line here. That's when things start getting wild. That's when things start getting wild. 8:32, we have 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 earthquakes for approximately 45 seconds. Then it dies down to tremors for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes. Then we come over here to approximately 8:41 a.m. this morning. All of a sudden, we begin to have 2.5, 2.8, 2.9, 3.0 earthquakes again. On the next red line, which would be 9:15. 9:15, you see this red line go out 2.5 minutes, almost 2.5 minutes. We have at least 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes happening here. Rapid shaking. They are continually shaking. They don't stop. They slow down after about 9:33, something like that. They go down to 2.0s, 2.5s, down to tremors. And then when they pick up again, it is approximately 9:25 this morning. All of a sudden we have 2.5, 2.7s, and all the way up to 3.0s again. 3.0, possibly 3.5 small earthquakes. These earthquakes are felt. These earthquakes are felt quakes. Now you see after that on the blue line in the center here, more 3.0 plus earthquakes. Then you can see the green line here taking shape after 9:30, 9:45. I believe we're still seeing 3.0 plus earthquakes here. 9:46, 9:47, 9:48, 9:49. 3.0 plus earthquakes. People are being able to feel these earthquakes. They feel rumbling beneath their feet. 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes, you're going to see your couches, your beds crawl along the floor. Not major thumping, not major up and down thumping, but you're going to see the beds, your furniture moving, creeping along the floor. Rumbling. Put your feet on the floor. Some people get out of bed at this hour of the morning. You feel rumbling beneath your feet. You can't go to sleep after this. Continuous rumbling. Notice this earthquake sequence started early this morning. It went through at least 12 noon. All morning long from 8 a.m. to 12 noon here. 8 a.m. to 12 noon here. It didn't stop. Look what happened this afternoon. This afternoon, I think those 3.0 earthquakes went down to 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes. I don't think any of them got past 2.5 this afternoon. But again, between 12 noon and 4:30, when I pulled this seismic right here. This is Central Time, guys. This is 5:30 Eastern. That's why I came on a bit late. We're seeing minor earthquakes and we're seeing tremors here. Minor earthquakes and tremors here at Hitachi-Coon, Arkansas. That's not all. Let's go over here to Mark Tree. This is also along the eastern side of Arkansas, right next to the New Madrid Fault. Up at the top. The top line here is midnight. The top black line here is midnight on the left-hand side. Over on the right, we are talking over here at 11 a.m. this morning. Tremors. Tremors continue for about 2 minutes. Then the tremors began having 2.5 earthquakes. They go from just tiny tremors, 1.0, 1.1, 1.4, 1.5, 1.8, 1.9, 2.0. 2.5 earthquakes. 2.0, 2.9 are minor earthquakes. And yet that's exactly what we saw at 12:14. 2.6, 2.7. 12:15 over here on the left-hand side. We're seeing 1.7, 1.8 tremors Then before 12:16, we're still at 12:15. We're seeing a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. Minor earthquake. You're not going to feel a minor earthquake. But here we're seeing tremors all the way down here until we get to 3:30 this morning. Over here at 3:40, 3:44. Actually, not that long, 3:41. 3:41 this morning. Tremors beginning to be 2.0 earthquakes. 2.7, 2.8. 2.9, 3.0. 3.0 earthquakes. That happened at 3:44 this morning. 3.0. Then back down to 2.3. 2.2, 2.3. Then we had more tremors for the next few hours. Then we jumped down here to 7:30 this morning on the blue line. 7:30 this morning, we have 2.0 earthquakes. 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes. And the minor earthquakes continue. And the tremors continue here. Then the rest of the morning, all we had here are tremors here. Marktree, Arkansas this morning. Minor earthquakes and tremors here, Marktree. Marktree is used to seeing 3.0 earthquakes. To be quite honest, during the past several months, we've had 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here in Marktree, Arkansas. We're going to see that again. This afternoon here in Marktree, Arkansas, we had tremors until we got past 2:15 on this red line. 2:17, 2:18, tremors. 2:19, tremors. 2:20, 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes. We got out here to 2:23, 2.7, 2.8. Minor earthquakes. After that, we go back down to tremors again. Marktree, Arkansas. Let's go over to Truman, Arkansas now. Truman, Arkansas is just south of Marktree. Here this morning, all we are seeing are tremors all day long, all morning long. Up at the top, we have tremors and minor earthquakes, 2.0 earthquakes. All the rest is just the tremors, nothing but tremors. Marktree, Arkansas this afternoon. I'm sorry, not Marktree, Truman, Arkansas this afternoon. Now we've had tremors and we've had minor earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes start here after 12:15 on the left-hand side on the red line. We get over here on the red line to the center here. Now we are talking about 2:21. 2:21 p.m. 2.5, 2.6. Back down to tremors and minor 2.0s. Then we have another 2.7, 2.8. Then nothing but tremors and one 2.0 earthquake here after 4:30 this morning, or 4:30 this afternoon, I'm sorry, 4:30 this afternoon, approximately 4:38 this afternoon. 2.0 earthquakes. Truman, Arkansas this afternoon. We go further south to Tyrone, Arkansas. Tyronza, Arkansas, early this morning after midnight, hardly anything going on. Microquakes and tremors at the best. Earthquakes don't start hitting until after, let's say, 1, 2, 3, about 3:52 this afternoon, or I'm sorry, this morning, 2:53 this morning. We have 2.7, 2.8 earthquake on that green line. Then you see a bunch more tremors until we get down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6:08 this morning. 2.5, 2.6, maybe 2.7 earthquake. Then more tremors. After 9, this I'm going to say is 9:10, 9:11 this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Then we have minor earthquakes here. Then we jump down here to 11 a.m. this morning on the black line. Come over 11:07. Now we've seen another 3.0 earthquake. Over on the right side, this is 11:13. We have tremors. It develops into 2.4 earthquake, then all the way up to 3.0 again. 3.0 small earthquake here. 11:13 this morning. Tyronza, Arkansas, right next to the Pneumatic Fault. Tyronza, Arkansas this afternoon. Look what happens. Not just tremors, but minor earthquakes and full-blown 3.0s. Over on the left-hand side at 12, just before 12:01, 2.6, 2.7. Further right, 12:02, 2.8, 2.9. 2.5 minutes later, same thing. We go over to the red line beneath that, over on the right-hand side, towards the right-hand side here. 2.8, 2.9. The same thing on the blue line just below that. Okay, that would be 12:38. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Then we drop down here to 2 p.m. 2:03 p.m. we have a 2.9, 3.0. 2.9, 3.0 lasts several seconds. More tremors, more minor earthquakes. 2:45 on the green line. We see another 3.0 earthquake at 2:46. Just after 2:46, another 3.0 earthquake. Then further over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2:50. 2:50 this afternoon, another 3.0. Then more minor tremors and 2.0 earthquakes. Then we jump over here to 3:30 on the blue line. We get over here towards the middle here. Okay, now we're talking 3:36. 3:36, we have 2.9, 3.0s again. Then we come over 2, 3, 4.5 minutes later. Another 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Tyronza, Arkansas. We didn't ever get these 3.0 earthquakes at all up until about 2 weeks ago at Tyronza, Arkansas. Now we are seeing more and more of them. Yes, we did see a lot of minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.8 here in Tyrone, Arkansas. Now we are seeing 3.0 earthquakes here. As I said, the seismic energy has increased here a lot. A lot. I want to go over to Illinois now. Decatur, Illinois. Look at this. Up until today, we never saw this here. We never saw this here. It's been happening for 4 days now. This activity on the New Mountain Fault in Decatur, Illinois happened during the past 4 days. We're having tremors and we're having minor earthquakes here. We're having tremors and we are having minor earthquakes here. Now, with that said, all throughout this seismogram here, we may have seen some 3.0 small earthquakes here in Illinois today. We've seen some very long vertical lines here. These may be 3.0 small earthquakes. Almost all day long. All morning long here. I'm not kidding you. Yes, we're having tremors. Yes, we're having minor earthquakes, but now we're seeing 3.0, possibly even larger earthquakes here in Decatur, Illinois. I'm not joking. I don't joke about this. This is serious. And then this afternoon, look at this. Here we are seeing 3.0 earthquakes. I can prove it. On the bottom lines here, you're seeing 3.0 earthquakes. One 3.0 earthquake is happening 1, 2, 3, 4, 4:30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4:35 this afternoon. 3.0, 3.1 earthquake. On the red line to the far right this afternoon. This afternoon, guys. That would be 4:28 p.m. this afternoon. 3.0 earthquake there. Then after that, another 3.0 earthquake at about 4:23 this afternoon, right before 4:24. I'm sorry, 4:28. It'd be 4:28 here, right before 4:29. 3.0 earthquakes. And like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4:35, another 3.0 earthquake. Decatur, Illinois is getting rocked. And I'm going to watch this for the next couple days. Tomorrow's Friday. I will be talking earthquakes and preparedness activities tomorrow. Tomorrow's Preparedness Friday. I will come back here tomorrow and show you more earthquakes if they're continuing. But I'm telling you, seismic energy has ripped up. Seismic energy here on the New Mountain Fault has increased substantially. It's increased substantially. The number of earthquakes and the size of the earthquakes have increased here. There is no doubt in my mind of what's happening here. Everybody on the New Mountain Fault must be knowing this. You have to. You need to know what's going on in your neighborhoods. Some of you are feeling these earthquakes. Some of you are feeling these earthquakes, and I'm serious as a heart attack here. As the earthquakes increase here, and I think they're going to increase substantially from now on, You guys are going to feel these earthquakes. I'm not kidding. Let's go over to Missouri. Barker Cemetery, Missouri here. Barker Cemetery up until 2 years ago. Tremors and minor 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes. Now we're not just seeing minor earthquakes here. Yes, we're seeing some minor earthquakes. But now they've gotten to be 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. Down here at the bottom, 11:02, we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes, several of them. 11:02 a.m. this morning at the bottom left-hand side. 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here. Multiple back-to-back earthquakes here. Let's look at Barker Cemetery this afternoon. This is Barker Cemetery this afternoon. On the left-hand side, this would be 12:30 this afternoon. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Yes, we have had 3.0 small earthquakes here at Barker Cemetery during the past couple of weeks. I've shown you these earthquakes before. Now they're getting to be more prevalent. They're getting to be more prevalent, guys. The seismic energy has increased here. Literally all over Missouri. Let's go to Guam, Missouri here. Look here. Long duration tremors and long duration minor earthquakes. Tremors and long duration 2.0 earthquakes here. 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes here. Guam, Missouri. Usually we see more earthquakes than this. But you see what you see today. Guam, Missouri. It's not over. Guam, Missouri this afternoon. Look at this. 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes. Long duration earthquake sequences here. Look over on the right-hand side on the red line. Okay, it starts off with tiny tremors. 1.7, 1.8 tremors for about a minute and a half. Then these tremors begin to be 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes. Over on the right-hand side, it turns blue, doesn't it? 1:30 this afternoon. 2.2, 2.4 earthquakes here. 2 o'clock on the black line, we have 2.0, 2.1 earthquakes there. Minor earthquakes here in Guam, Missouri this afternoon. I want to show you now Kewanee, Missouri. Kewanee, Missouri. Just south of Kewanee, the Mississippi River takes a right-hand turn. Goes towards the east a little bit, just for a few minutes. This is where north of that right-hand turn is where Kewanee, Missouri is. Look what we have here. Tremors turning into 2.5, 2.6, and 2.7 earthquakes. Yeah. Now, I want to come down here to this morning. 10:15 this morning on the left-hand side. It starts first on the right-hand side on the black line. Those are tiny tremors. The tremors are building up here after 10:15, 10:16, Right before 10:17, it builds up to 1.5, 1.6 tremors. More tremors happening for another minute and a half. Then we have 2.0, 2.1 earthquakes. Right after that, 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. Then after that, we have at least a 3.0 earthquake. This quake sequences last just over a minute, just about 65, 70 seconds. Notice the top and the bottom of the sequence have been cut off. That means this earthquake was substantially larger than they're showing it here. They don't want us to know exactly how strong this earthquake was. But here for a full minute, maybe 70 seconds, we have 3.0, 3.5 earthquake hitting here. People here are feeling it. People here in Missouri are feeling this earthquake. Then after that, it dies down to 2.3, 2.4. Then the tremors for about 3 minutes. And these tremors here last a long time. From the time the 3.0, 3.5 earthquake starts to die down, to the right side of that is called the secondary wave. The secondary wave in this case lasts 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, which means this earthquake here was at least a 3.5, 3.7 earthquake. The length of the secondary quake means the primary wave was larger than what it shows here. 3.5, 3.7 earthquake. Everybody here around this Kewanee, Missouri area felt it. They felt this earthquake. We've not seen this kind of earthquake happen here ever. Not in a very long time, at least the last 6.5 years. And before that, all we had were tremors. I can guarantee all we had here then were tremors, nothing more. That's Kewanee, Missouri today. Just barely east and north of there, Matthews, Missouri. Look at this. Matthews, Missouri here. Look at this. After 2 a.m. 2 a.m. on the black line on the left-hand side, we get over here to the right. Now we are talking about 2:11 a.m. this morning. 2:11 a.m. this morning. Matthews, Missouri. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long. 3.5, 3.7 earthquake. 3 minutes long. They cut off the top and the bottom of that sequence. That means it was larger than they're showing. They're showing 3.0 earthquake lasting 3 minutes. Then the secondary wave lasts 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. This was again a 3.7 earthquake. This earthquake that started after 2:11 a.m. this morning. 3.7 earthquake. Then we jump down to 2, 3, 4 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side. Over on the right-hand side. 4:11, we have tremors. 4:12, we have tremors. 4:13, we have tremors. For 30 more seconds, we have tremors. Then all of a sudden, we have 2.0 earthquake. 2.4 earthquake. 2.6, 2.7. 2.8, 2.9. Then a full 3.0 earthquake happening for a full minute. Then it dies down to maybe 2.8, 2.9. A minute later, it gets to be 3.0 again. At least 3.0 for another full minute. Possibly even a 3.5, 3.6 earthquake. Why do I say that? Again, after the primary wave happens, we have a secondary wave. The secondary wave lasts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. This was at least a 3.5, 3.6 earthquake. Unreal. Unreal. Then we drop down to this blue line this morning. This blue line this morning on the left-hand side would be 8:30. We come over here, 1, 2, 3 minutes, tiny tremors. 4 minutes, 1.3 tremors. 5 minutes, 1.3, 1.4 tremors. About 15 seconds later, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. A few seconds later, we have a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake that happens off and on for the next several minutes. 1, 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes at 3.0 plus earthquake. Again, the top and the bottom of this sequence has been cut off. Then we have 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Guess what? This earthquake sequence was 3.5, 3.6 earthquake at least. At least. 2.5 minutes, 3.5, 3.6 shaking here. Then after 10 a.m., 10 a.m. on this black line, we come over here to 10:06, we have tremors. 10:07 tremors. 10:08 tremors. 10:09 we have 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. And shortly after that, again, we're having a sequence of at least 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 smaller earthquakes, 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes long. 4 minutes long is small shaking. They cut off the top and the bottom of this sequence. The secondary wave lasts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes long. So this sequence here that started at 10:07, 10:08 this morning was at least a 3.6, 3.7 earthquake. 3.6, 3.7 earthquake, guys. This is very significant. Matthews, Missouri. This is the center part of the pneumatic fault. The center part of the pneumatic fault. Incredible. We didn't see this before this week. We've never seen this before this week, not like this. Not like this at all. Now I want to come over here to Portageville, Missouri. Portageville, Missouri. Look at this, guys. Get serious about this. Okay? Up at the top, we have 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Nothing but tremors. Then after 7 a.m., it breaks loose. I can't tell right exactly at 7 a.m. or 7:01 is when the 3.0 plus earthquake started. But it lasts at least 2-3 minutes long. The secondary wave lasts about a minute and a half, which means this earthquake was 3.03.1 earthquake. 3.03.1 earthquake, and it didn't stop. It quieted down until 7:14. 7:14 it kindled back up, 3 points of earthquake. That continues at 3:15, 3:16, 3:17, 3:17 and a half. 4-minute long earthquake. 4-minute long earthquake. The secondary wave lasts 1, 2, 3 minutes, which again says that this earthquake was a 3.03.1 earthquake. Pires, Missouri this morning. Then again after 8:30 this morning. 8:33 this morning, we have another 3 points of earthquake. It lasts about 30 seconds. That's not even half as long as these other quake sequences. These other quake sequences you've seen lasting 2, 3, and 4 minutes. 3, 4 minutes worth of shaking. You feel the shaking beneath your feet. Some people woke up to this morning. Some people woke up to this after 7 a.m. this morning. It continued, didn't it? It absolutely did. After 7:12 this morning, we had another 3 points of earthquake. 8:30, another 3.0. We come down here to 8:53 this morning on the green line. Again, it began with a bunch of tremors. Comes over here to the right, 8:53. Starts with tremors, 2.0 earthquakes, and then it starts in. 2:53, 2:54, 2:55, 2:56, 2:57. At least 3 points of earthquake. The secondary wave lasts just over a minute and a half, which means this was a 3.1 earthquake. A 3.1 earthquake. The next one happens after 10:15 on the red line. Over here in the center, this starts to happen with tremors about 10:21 this morning. 10:21 this morning. 10:22 we had some minor earthquakes. 2.3, 2.4. Shortly after that, we had 3 points of earthquake happening again. This sequence lasts about another minute and a half. Then we have a secondary wave that lasts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, which means this short sequence lasted just about a minute and a half. 3.5, 3.6 earthquake. Again. We have more 3.0 earthquakes after approximately 11:06 a.m. this morning. Actually, not that. 11:21 on the red line. 11:21 this morning on the red line. But prior to that, over in the black line, this one was 11:59 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquake there. And then again, after 11:21 a.m., another 3.0 earthquake. Pires, Missouri. That was this morning. Pires, Missouri this afternoon. Look at this. 12 noon on the left-hand side. Again, we're seeing 3.0 earthquake sequence lasting 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. The secondary wave lasts 1, 2, 3 minutes, which means this earthquake was a 3.0, 3.1. Then after 2:30 this afternoon, actually not 2:30, I'm sorry, 2:25 this afternoon, another 3.0 earthquake on the red line here on the right-hand side. That turns to tremors, and then a little over a minute later, another 3.0 sequence, lasting about 30 minutes or about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Dies down to tremors. Then it builds up again. Okay, over on the left, it builds up to 2.8, 2.9 at approximately 2:16 p.m. this afternoon. Another 3.0 sequence. 30 seconds later, another 3.0. Three, 3:30, 2, 3, 4, 3:35. 3:35, 3:36, 3:37. 2.5 minutes of another 3.0 shaking. That was a 3.0, 3.1. Then after 4 o'clock or 4:15 on the left-hand side on the red line, we come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4:21. 3.0 earthquake again, lasting about 30 seconds, 20, 30 seconds. Then down here at 6:30, or not 6, 4:31. Another 3.0 sequence here. Small earthquakes. Portageville, Missouri. Yes, we've seen some 3.0 sequences here at Portageville, Missouri before. Not like this. The 3.0 sequences are lasting longer time. Long duration small earthquake sequences. Upwards of 3.5, 3.6 earthquakes. That's a long time to go through an earthquake sequence. If you're sitting down or trying to stand up, that would be very sick to try to stand up. Your equilibrium is going to be off. If you're sitting down, it might be feeling better. I don't think I would want to be laying down during this kind of earthquake sequence. Your bed's creeping along the floor, your chairs and everything else creeping along the floor. Maybe having your bed pound against the wall. Yeah, vibrate and pound against the wall. That's what you guys are feeling here on the pneumatic fault today. But it doesn't stop here. Let's talk about Tennessee. Let's go over to Eastern Tennessee. This is the Tennessee seismic zone. The Tennessee seismic zone. Let's go over to Avondale, Tennessee. Look at this. This morning, starting about 2:30 this morning, tremors and minor earthquakes here. The stylus is jumping all over the place here. This again is the Tennessee seismic zone. The southern part of the Blue Ridge Mountains here. The southern part of the Blue Ridge Mountains here. This happened this morning. Okay? From 2:30 until 7 a.m. this morning. 2:30 to 7 a.m. this morning. Incredible, huh? Yes, it is incredible. Martin, Tennessee. University of Tennessee in Martin, Tennessee. Okay? Up at midnight, nothing happened. Yes, we had some tremors after 8 a.m. this morning. But we did not see any earthquake activity until 11:29 a.m. this morning. Just before 11:29, we had another 3.0 sequence here. Small earthquakes. Those earthquake sequences last about 30 seconds. Then it died off again until after 11:30 this morning. 11:38 this morning, we have another 3.0 sequence started. Those earthquakes last about 10 seconds. Then it dropped down to tremors, and then it picked back up to 2.9 earthquake. After that, it died off until we had some tremors after 11:45. This tremor sequence lasted through 11:52 a.m. this morning. We've never seen this happen before. This again is on the southern part of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Tennessee seismic zone. The Tennessee seismic zone. That's where we're seeing this happen. Okay? Now I want to take you over to Nacogdoches, Texas. Eastern Texas. Eastern Texas. In the past 2 years, we've seen some minor tremors and tiny earthquakes. Tiny 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes. Here in Nacogdoches, Texas, all we see here are tremors. Maybe a 2.0 earthquake this morning after 1:11 a.m. this morning. Maybe a 2.0 earthquake then. All that is here are tremors. Yes, we've seen some minor earthquakes here in Nacogdoches, Texas before. I've seen it happen. One of my instructors in the police academy, his name was Roy State. He lived here in Nacogdoches, Texas. He was a state trooper. His area covered all over Nacogdoches, Texas for 40 miles in any direction. He covered that area by himself. Yeah, he could have got himself in real trouble, but he did not have any backup coming anytime soon if something really bad had happened. For the most part, he took care of things himself because he knew he didn't have backup. That's why I have taken a look at Nacogdoches, Texas before. This is different. I do not think this sequence of earthquakes or tremors here was caused by anything to do with oil and gas fracking. I think what we're having to do here is we have some minor earthquake faults in this area. I think that's why we have these discussions here about Nacogdoches, Texas. There are fault lines here in eastern Texas. Okay? But as I said in the beginning of this program tonight, we have had an increase, substantial increase in seismic activity on the Nomad Fault over the past 6 months. And today we're seeing a marked increase, very much a marked increase in seismic activity on the Nomad Fault today. It's all over. It's literally all over the place, guys. What do you think? What's you guys' opinion? This is big time, guys. This is big time. And right now, the USGS is closed. It's going to be closed for a little while, possibly another 2 or 3 days, at least through the weekend. Then the Democrats might come to their senses and reopen it maybe on Monday. I don't think it's going to be before then. But we've seen a lot of earthquakes here. There is a marked sense of urgency here for anyone living in the New Madrid Fault area. As I've shown you on the earthquake map, the New Madrid Fault is big. It's big. It's huge, guys. The New Madrid Fault is big. Okay? It starts down here in the Gulf of America. Okay? See where the Mississippi River is? Empties out over here in Louisiana. Goes all the way up here. Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky. It also stretches over here to southeastern Oklahoma. We've seen a marked increase in tremor activity there. All the way up here into Illinois. All the way over to Ohio. All the way northeast to Ohio, the New Madrid Fault. Tonight I showed you earthquakes in Illinois, Decatur, Illinois. I'm serious about this, guys. The New Madrid Fault is picking up. We may see a huge increase in seismic activity as we go forward. I personally believe that we're going to have an 8.0 earthquake on the New Madrid Fault probably within the next year to 2 years. I don't think it's going to go further than that. For the next year to 2 years, we're going to see an 8.0 major earthquake here. This area is highly populated. Highly populated. Little Rock, Arkansas itself is over 1 million people. Memphis, Tennessee is over 1 million people, probably close to 2 million. Nashville, Louisville, Kentucky. This whole area, guys. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. All you folks need to be wary, very wary. Millions of people live along the fault. Your homes and property may be destroyed. Business buildings will be destroyed. Roadways and bridges will be destroyed. There will be no getting around. There will be water mains destroyed, gas mains destroyed, fires. Fire departments won't have any water except in their trucks. If the fires are going to be put out, it's going to be put out from aerial firefighting, helicopters and planes. Cars and trucks are not going to be able to get in. You're not going to be able to buy food. There's not going to be any food available for maybe after 3 days after the quake happens. The stores will be looted and ransacked. You need to be prepared. You need to be prepared. And yes, surgery says there will be massive flooding from the Mississippi River. We may see the Mississippi back up just like it did in the 1800s. Stop flowing forward and moving to the north again. It may increase a substantial acreage of the Reelfoot Lake or make a new lake over there in Arkansas, Missouri area. Yeah, or Tennessee for that matter. It can very much happen. Roadways are going to be destroyed. Highways are going to be destroyed. Are you ready to hoof it? Are you ready to use four-wheel drive vehicles, motorcycles, gators, because quite honestly, that's the only way you're going to get around. That's the only way you're going to get around, is that way. Plain and simple. There's no other solution. Any questions? Your water's going to be limited because there's no water mains except those that are broken. So you're going to have water storage. You're going to have to store your own water. If you have water, you're going to have to boil it. Yeah. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We're going to be talking about emergency preparedness tomorrow evening after 4 p.m. I ask you to be back here at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time for another session of Emergency Management Associates. Now, I want to come over here to the scriptures again. At the end of every program, I leave you with a devotional here. Today, I'm going over to the second chapter of Philippians, starting with verse 1, 2, and probably through verse 5 here. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies. Harbor Girl is asking if I have a PayPal donation. I'll check that as soon as I get off the air. Thank you, Harbor Girl. I'll check that as soon as I get off the air. Thank you so much. I will let you know tomorrow afternoon. Surgery says he's going to be hiking and hunting for the mighty elk in Idaho tomorrow. Be safe, Surgery. Appreciate you. Again, in verse 1 here, second chapter of Philippians. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye may be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord and of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vengeance or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem each other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Let this mind be in you, which also in Christ Jesus. Be meek, be lowly of heart. Charity suffereth not. Be charitable, be giving, be honest, be fruitful in your doings. Showeth grief with others. If you're grieving, share that grief with others. And all of you that are not grieving yourselves, maybe you ought to be. Maybe we can help others and take upon their grief and help ease their grief. Maybe we can help them. If they've lost someone, maybe we need to bring in meals to those families so they don't have to worry about fixing food. If they've lost someone, help them, grieve with them, stand up for them, be loving and be charitable, just like you know Jesus Christ would be to you. This past weekend, a church was attacked in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Members lost members of their own family, were shot and killed or burned to death in that fire. But guess what some of those members did? The gunman was killed by the police. The gunman that killed police in that shooting in that church was stifled, died himself by the police gunshots. The man left behind a wife and a small child. The members of the church have raised over $243,000. The members of the church have given that wife, that grieving widow, $240,000 for her and her son. Her son has some extreme medical issues with insulin in his body. Those members who were grieving for their own kind, their own people, their own family members, raised money for that widow and her son. Maybe we need to be so charitable ourselves to help others. Think about it. Think about it. Brothers and sisters, we need to be more charitable with others. Help others. That's what we're called to do. When I saw the video last night of what they had raised, I was astounded and I cried. If you want me to, I can find out more information and I will get the GoFundMe pages for those members of that church and that widow. I will put them up and you can donate to those people as well. They probably need it as well. If you guys want me to do that, I will do that. I will publish it here on our page here on our video tomorrow night. We need to be more cognizant of those around us, more loving, more charitable. We need to be meek and lowly in heart. And then the Lord says we will have rest unto our souls. Charity is the full love of Christ. I hope we can do that. I hope we can do that. Now, guys, if anything else happens tonight or in the morning, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. I'm going to try to come on the air tomorrow morning with a members-only meeting sometime between 10 and 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So those of you that are here today, please watch out for that members-only meeting. I would love to see you all. I'd love to get your opinions on how this channel is going and what you'd like to see on this channel. So please join me here between 10 and 11 tomorrow morning with another episode of Members Only on Emergency Management Associates. Until then, I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow. God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. May God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side.